following program contains sexual content. Viewer discretion is advised.
Today on an all-new Dr. Phil. 5 years ago, she told her story.
You lived in a closet, starved, beaten, tortured.
The girl in the closet. Her life since then.
In college, you were bullied.
A football team made fun of me. They said I liked it when I got raped.
Do you say if I was a better child, my parents would have loved me?
Yes.
I will spend the rest of my life disabusing you of that thought. Let's do it.
Have a good show, everybody. Here we go.
This is a safe place to talk about hard things.
Stand by. We'll count you down.
I'll try to be an emotional compass and point you in the right direction.
5, 4.
I am not giving up on you. Thank you. 5 years ago, we introduced you to a young woman so extraordinary, so brave, that her story haunted us for years afterwards. You know, many times in interviews, I've been asked, Dr. Phil, is there one story that really sticks out to you across the 15 years that you've been doing this show? This is the story that I talk about when I'm asked that question. Her name is Lauren Kavanaugh, but back then she was known to the world as the girl in the closet. For 6 excruciating years, Lauren was held prisoner by her mother, Barbara, and her stepfather, Kenneth Atkinson, in this tiny urine and feces-strewn closet, let out only to be beaten and brutalized. When Lauren was finally rescued, she was 8 years old. She was malnourished, she weighed a mere 25 pounds, and stood just 3 feet tall. It was one of the most horrific crimes against a child that doctors and law enforcement had ever seen. Take a look.
A daughter born into the world under abusive circumstances.
Emaciated, sick, covered in feces, with her hair full of lice. Police say the little girl was caged in a closet, crying for help, and no one listened.
I was the first officer to arrive at the scene. The condition of the little girl, Lauren, was horrible. Her skin was peeling due to laying in her own feces. Lauren's matted hair reminded me of a rat's nest. The closet where Lauren had been kept, it smelled horribly. Urine and all the bodily functions. We found what appeared to be chew marks or teeth marks on the inside of the closet door handle. I haven't ever run across anything like this.
30-year-old Barbara Catherine Calhoun has 6 children, but police in Hutchins say only one of them was locked in this closet, which has been her prison for months and quite possibly years.
How can you do that to your own child?
Police say the girl's stepfather was afraid to intervene because he was afraid of his wife.
Neighbors Jeannie and Joe had been in and out of the house, but had no idea that just a few feet away, Lauren lay hidden, naked, and starving.
Looking at the closet, in simple words, is absolutely disgusting. The one thing that caught my eye was a chewed up plastic butter bowl. She tried to eat anything she could.
Lauren looked like a Holocaust child. I was stunned. Lauren had sores all over her head where the lice had just taken over. I will never forget it.
She weighed only 25 pounds and was 3 feet tall, even though she was 8 years old. She was severely malnourished.
Hope she'll be able to learn to live with this awful torture and abuse at the hands of the one person who is charged to love and protect her.
You know, I've said many times when we have guests on the Dr. Phil show that being here is the beginning of my relationship with these people, not the end. You know, Lauren was a fighter, and 10 years after her release, she spoke for the first time about her ordeal inside that closet to me on this stage. And I knew it was the beginning of a long journey. She was one of the bravest guests that I've ever had the honor of meeting. Take a look at Lauren's first visit here on the Dr. Phil Show. This is Lauren's first interview since being rescued from that closet. Tell me, how much do you remember about that entire 6-year period? I know parts of this are fuzzy for you, but parts of it are very, very clear. True?
Yes, sir.
So you're in this closet and it's dark, right?
Yes, sir.
Did you ever yell for them to help you or to let you out?
I tried to yell to come get me out, and they would turn the radio up louder so that they wouldn't hear me.
Had you learned to know opening that door is going to lead to pain?
I did, because that was the only time they took me out.
And they took you out for what?
To have sex with me and beat me.
And who is they? Who had sex with you and beat you?
My parents, Barbie and Kenneth.
My mom would bring home guys and girls to have sex with me.
And how damaged was she vaginally and rectally?
This little girl had to have the reconstruction surgery.
My parents would use some kind of weapon to beat me. My stepdad would get the gun that was beside his bed, put it to my head, and pull the trigger, pretend to shoot me.
This is the day you were rescued.
I was so small. I didn't weigh very much.
You were actually about 25 pounds. In comparison to other 8-year-olds, you were dramatically different. Lauren, it wasn't just a closet. There were times that you were confined under a house.
Another punishment was under the house. It would be winter and there was snow on the ground. All I had was like a blanket maybe. And I had to go under the house until they wanted me to come back in.
And then sometimes they actually put you in a toy box.
I was kept in a toy box when they wanted to go somewhere.
Do you have any desire to talk to your mother?
I used to, yeah. But now, probably not.
They're in prison with life sentences. Does that seem just to you?
No, sir.
What do you think should happen to them?
Death row.
What are your hopes? What are your dreams going forward?
I would love to help people that have been abused. I would like to be a counselor someday.
Do you think this young woman has earned the right to claim a happy and productive life going forward? Stand up and cheer for her right now. You know, it's hard to look at that kind of story, right? It's hard to even wrap your head around how people could do that to a child. But when I started the Dr. Phil Show 15 years ago, I said, we're going to deal with the silent epidemics in America. We're going to talk about the things other people don't talk about. We're going to deal with the things that you just don't talk about in polite society. I do want to talk about this. I want to draw attention to this because this goes on in America. We need to pay attention. You know, after the show, we set Lauren up with resources, obviously, to help her recover. And she was unable to avail herself of the help that we offered. Well, Lauren is now 23 years old and says that despite the passage of time, she has struggled to move forward, to move through her pain, to regain control of her life. Here's an update on where she is today.
I went on Dr. Phil to get my story out there so that I can inform others so that maybe it wouldn't happen to another child and help the child out. I have 6,000 followers on my Facebook page. People contact me all over the world to tell me I'm their hero. This girl messaged me one night and it was like she was thinking about killing herself. I helped her with that. My life's been pretty hard. I've been struggling a lot. I hardly sleep anymore. My anxiety is terrible. I've tried to commit suicide. over 30 times. I put a belt around my throat and pulled it as tight as I could. I've jumped out of a moving car. I've overdosed a lot. I've taken anywhere from 60 sleeping pills to 160. I was either having a bad day or I was really depressed. I had an alcohol problem. I'd go months without leaving the house. I'd just stay in my room or wherever. I've been homeless. Sometimes I have flashbacks about my past, my childhood. Sometimes when I have flashbacks, it's a Ken and Barbie beating me. If someone's yelling at me, it triggers something. Them hitting me and yelling at me and beating me. Sometimes I have nightmares. My nightmares are a lot worse to deal with than my flashbacks. I could come out of a flashback, but I can be woken up from a nightmare. I'm hoping talking to Dr. Phil will help me with my depression, my anxieties, and being able to live a normal life.
Coming up, when you got into college, you actually had to stop going because you were bullied and harassed.
Some players on the football team read my story.
What did they say to you? And later,
before we go to bed, I normally put everything away that's sharp. I literally have to baby-proof the house.
I can't believe that I do it. It's just shocking.
well, Lauren is here. She's here because we asked her to be here again. So Lauren, please join us. How are you? So good to see you.
Good to see you.
All right, got to step. Well, I'm glad to be sitting with you again. There have been some times when you had things moving, you've had things flowing in the way you wanted them to go, right?
Yes, I got in relationships. I went to college. I graduated.
When you got into college, and this is just something that absolutely boggles my mind, but when you got into college, you actually had to stop going to that school because you were bullied and harassed, correct?
Yes, sir.
By who and for what?
Some players on the football team read my story. And they made fun of me and bullied me and harassed me because of it.
What did they say to you?
That I liked it when I got raped and if just things like that, just...
Yeah, and when they read your story, they know that this happened for a 6-year period from the ages of 2 until 8, and that you lived in a closet, starved, beaten, raped, horrifically tortured. And so that's their way of bullying you, that you like this and that you're some kind of bad person for it. Were those people ever held to account?
They missed a couple of football games.
When you saw what happened to them, where they missed a couple of games, what do you say to yourself about that?
I was pretty upset that they only got to miss a couple of games, and I'm in my dorm room not able to come out because they're still harassing me.
So it didn't really stop?
No. The football coach apologized for his teammates. They did not apologize.
Did that affect the way you felt about yourself?
Yeah.
Other than angry? I mean, what did you say?
That I'm not good enough for anything. I would never be anything in my life. Just...
Because of what's happened to you?
Yes, sir.
Even though you know you didn't choose that, even though you know you were the victim, that causes you to say that to yourself. Why? Help me understand.
Because I blame myself.
And when you say you blame yourself, was there something that you did that you shouldn't have done or didn't do that you should have done?
I feel like I could have ran away when I had the chance or just did different things.
And if you look back on that and you've seen some of the pictures and the tape that's reminded you of this today, intellectually you realize that you were a small, malnourished, beaten prisoner child at the time. You know that intellectually, right?
Yes, sir.
But emotionally you still feel differently.
Yes, sir.
Okay. Well, you know we're going to talk about this, right?
Yes, sir.
All right. All right, we're going to take a break here. Later, we're going to meet Lauren's sister, Blake, and we're going to learn why their parents referred to Lauren as it and that girl. But next, Lauren says it was 2 years after her rescue when she began having flashbacks, nightmares, and night terrors about being sexually brutalized, punched, and burned by her abusers. We're going to talk about all of that after the break.
It's like I'm that child again, every day. I can feel the pain and the torture that I go through. It's real every day. It doesn't ever end.
And later,
she will go to the shower, turn on the scalding hot water, and sleep in there. And she had blisters because the water was so hot.
Sometimes when I have flashbacks, it's of them beating me. Ken and Barney used to beat me after raping me. I can't listen to country music because that's all they ever played to drown out my screaming. When I hear it, it just all comes back. If someone's yelling at me, it makes me have flashbacks. Them hitting me and yelling at me and beating me and punching me. The scariest flashback I've ever had was when Kenneth put a gun to my head and pulled the trigger and was laughing about it.
well, Lauren's parents were named Barbie and Ken. But her home was the furthest thing from a dream house. Lauren lived in squalor and filth, held captive in a 4 by 9 foot closet, let out only to be tortured and brutalized by her parents and their friends. Yeah, you heard me right, their friends. And Lauren, what I want to do today is obviously, I want to re-engage here. What is disrupting your life the most? What's happening to you?
I hardly sleep. I have night terrors, nightmares, flashbacks. Every day I relive my past. It doesn't ever end.
I think when you say you relive it, it's not like a distant memory for you. It's like right there again. This isn't a distant memory, correct?
No.
Tell me about that.
It's like I'm that child again, every day. I can feel the pain and the torture that I go through. It's real every day.
You have trouble sleeping.
Yes, sir.
And why do you think that you fight going to sleep?
If I have a nightmare or a night terror, I can't wake up from it, so I'm just paralyzed in the whatever I'm seeing or feeling or doing right there.
So for you, going to sleep is like going back into that cave.
Yes.
But when you get in there, your legs won't move. You can't run, you can't wake up, you can't get out. And so if you going to sleep is like going back to it.
Yes.
If you sleep, do you prefer to sleep during the day?
Yes.
What is it about the dark?
I don't know. Something about the dark. I don't know.
Was it dark in that closet?
Yes.
Yeah, I went through everything that we've talked to you about, and I kind of made a list of the things that you describe as experiencing since we've talked to you last. You said you're having flashbacks where, I mean, it's just right back against you. Nightmares, night terrors. We'll talk about the difference in a minute. Anxiety, of course. Relationship dysfunction. It's real hard to trust somebody, get close to people. Long periods without sleep. And there are times that you sleep on the floor or you actually sleep in the closet. Like 3 times a week. You wake up, there's no recollection, but you wake up in the closet.
Yes.
Tell me, do you have any idea how you get in the closet?
Sometimes I'll do it before I go to bed, or sometimes I'll just wake up and I'm there and I'm trying to figure out how I got there because I know I didn't do it before I went to bed.
Sometimes you do it before you go to bed? You go in there on purpose?
Mm-hmm.
Tell me what you say to yourself about going in there and going to bed on the closet floor.
It's a safety. It's safe.
It's kind of a comfort zone for you.
Yes.
And there was nothing comfortable about that, but it's kind of what I describe as it's the hell you know. It's tight, it's close, and so that's where you lived, and so you go in that tight, close space. And you do feel secure there, even though that was such a horrific place to be. It's the devil you know.
Yes.
Sometimes you don't shower at all, or you just shower multiple times.
Mm-hmm.
And when you shower so many times in a row, what are you trying to get off?
Kenneth and his friends raping me.
Closed captioning provided by You've cut yourself some.
Yes.
Tell me why.
I get tired of dealing with the same thing every day. I cut thinking that maybe I could cut deep enough and I won't be here anymore. And then I won't have to deal with the things I'm dealing with today.
You've attempted suicide a number of times. How do you feel when you survive?
That I failed. Sometimes that I failed. Sometimes I'm glad because I have a family now. And if I weren't here, then they wouldn't know what to do.
But you sometimes hope that, well, maybe next time I'll succeed.
Yes.
Do you really want to die, or do you just want the pain to stop?
I think I just want the pain to stop. I don't want to die, but I want it to end.
But that's a big difference, and I want you to pay attention to that difference. For you, suicide is a way to get the pain to stop, right?
Yes.
But what you really want is to get the pain to stop.
Yes.
And suicide would do that, but there's a huge side effect.
Yes.
You're dead. If we could get it to stop without that, that would be great, right?
Yes.
You would prefer that.
Yes.
Right. You say sometimes you can't eat. You've gone days, at one point a couple of weeks without eating.
Yes.
You would just have water. You just wouldn't eat at all, right?
Yes.
Why?
I don't have an appetite, or I just don't feel like eating.
You're just not motivated to eat. Okay. Sometimes you say you'll vacillate back and forth whether you either don't shower at all or you just shower multiple times.
Mm-hmm.
And when you don't shower at all, why?
Because I was not motivated to.
Is it just you don't have the energy, you just don't care?
Yes.
And when you shower so many times in a row, what are you trying to get off?
Kenneth and his friends. Raping me.
Trying to wash away that horrible touch.
Yes.
You've attempted suicide. You've abused alcohol. You did drop out to get away from those bullies. There are times that you're homebound, just don't want to go out into the world. You've had meltdowns out in public in the store, right? Where you think you're kind of paranoid and think people are out to get you, right?
Yes.
What do you say to yourself when you're in that space?
I'm watching everyone around me, and if someone looks at me more than once, I just feel like it's not just looking, if it's like a glance more than once, like, so I just feel like they're want to hurt me, or they're about to hurt me, or something like that.
How do you feel here today talking to me?
Good.
Are you glad you're here?
Yes, sir.
You feel safe here?
Yes, sir.
We have a lot more to talk about. Lauren's girlfriend, Janae, is here and wanted me to know exactly what Lauren has been going through. She takes us inside Lauren's world, a world she struggles to get through every day. We're going to meet her next.
If someone touches her that she doesn't know or trust, that can trigger a flashback. When Lauren's having a flashback, it starts with this finger once, twice, 3 times, pinky, middle, all over again. And she does it with both hands. And she will rock, and she will count her fingers.
Closed captioning provided by Lauren was just 2 years old when her mother and stepfather, and boy, do I use those terms loosely, singled her out and confined her to a urine and feces-strewn closet. Lauren's girlfriend, Janae, says she witnesses firsthand the aftermath of the pain and suffering that Lauren endured during all of those years of abuse.
Lauren's anxiety and depression are really bad. Lauren's flashbacks are really hard on her and really hard on me. I know she's having a flashback because she stops right in her tracks. When Lauren's having a flashback, it starts with this finger once, twice, 3 times, pinky, middle, all over again. And she does it with both hands. And she will rock, and she will count her fingers. Lauren was diagnosed with cerebral dysrhythmia. It means that when she's having a flashback, her brain tries to stop it. It causes her to lay in bed all day with the room completely blacked out. If someone touches her that she doesn't know or trust, that can trigger a flashback. When Lauren drinks, she wants to fight anyone. She becomes a different person. One night, Lauren's drinking heavily. She just started screaming, cussing everyone out. I had to call the police, but I told her if she calmed down and got in the car, then I would call the police back and tell them not to. So she agreed. The police officer drove past us. She started freaking out. She said, "If I'm gonna die, you're gonna die with me." She reaches over and jerks the steering wheel to where I almost run over a median and flip the car. That was the final straw. I just don't want Lauren to die. That is my worst fear.
Well, when Lauren was finally freed, she was emaciated, living in her own feces, and had picked away part of the closet door to eat it. She weighed just 25 pounds, and that's the same as a 2-year-old child. Lauren says even though it's been 16 years since her dramatic rescue, her nightmares are just as vivid as they were back then.
A nightmare is realistic. You feel like you're there. I'm paralyzed from it because I can't wake up from it.
During her nightmares, Lauren has reenacted the sexual abuse. I could hear her grunting, so I came into the room and watched her twist and turn in a sexual way. And you could just hear her counting. 1, 2, 3. She stopped at 13. When I asked her about the dream and the counting, she said Kenneth and his friends raped her. And it was 13 men. Lauren's night terrors happen almost every night. I can't touch Lauren when she's having a night terror. If you do, she will hurt you. The first night terror that I encountered, I tried to wake her up and she got on top of me and tried to choke me.
She normally doesn't sleep next to me because she's scared to.
It's like she's reliving each day over and over.
Well, Janae, thank you so much for being here, and I really appreciate it. And now, so just so people understand, when we talk about a nightmare, we're talking about dreams with vivid and disturbing content, and these occur during REM sleep. They usually involve an immediate awakening and really good recall of imagery. Night terrors occur during non-REM sleep, so you're not as deep asleep during these times, and they induce terror or panic in the sleeper, and it causes them to scream and shout. They may sleepwalk, thrash about and around in the bed, and they only vaguely remember it. When she experiences this during the night or when you're asleep, she can get very out of control, right?
Yes, she can get very violent or reenactment of what she's seeing. You can't see what she sees, you only see what she's doing. And sometimes you want to wake her, you want it to stop because you don't want to watch her go through that pain, but you know that you can't because then you become that person.
Right. And are you fearful that she's going to injure herself?
Yes.
During these times? Because there are times that she's up and out of bed, right?
Yes.
She's moving about.
Yes.
And her eyes are open?
Her eyes are completely open. I have to, before we go to bed, I normally put everything away that's sharp, anything that she can hurt herself on. I literally have to baby-proof the house.
Right. And do you have recollection of this the next day?
No.
You not. And what did you think when, in the beginning, when you would find her in the closet floor?
I thought, okay, maybe it's just a safety thing. Maybe it's just she needs to be somewhere closed and tight. If we are somewhere that doesn't have a closet, she will go to the shower, turn on the scalding hot water, and sleep in there. One day she had slept in the shower with the hot water running for about 4 hours, and she had blisters because the water was so hot.
The water running on her?
Running on her body.
And was she awake?
No, she was completely asleep.
Lauren in her sleep says something over and over.
Over and over and over.
What is it? One of the things I put together was a list of triggers, things that either you identified or I saw as a pattern through there. Anyone yelling or screaming, being touched, certainly by somebody you don't know, country music, smell of alcohol, smell of cigarettes, certain body odors, smell of urine or feces on the street, if you're out in a dirty part of town or something, being locked in an area with no exit or the exit is blocked, sex, name-calling directed at you or loved ones, the dark, not having a permanent home where you feel like you're being rejected and pushed away. Is that a pretty good list of things that tend to trigger some of these flashbacks and some of the things that cause you to go in to an agitated mode?
Yes, sir.
And tell people why country music is on the list. It's not just that you don't like country music.
No. Ken and Barbie used to play country music all the time.
And this was on the radio, on the table, outside the door to cover up any noise that you might be making inside.
Yes.
And in fact, the way you learned to talk, the way you picked up verbal skills was from hearing the disc jockeys on the radio, correct?
Yes.
Because nobody socialized you, nobody verbalized you, nobody taught you how to speak.
No.
Lauren in her sleep says something that you've made note of over and over. What is it?
Why don't you love me? Over and over and over.
Are you aware of saying this?
No.
Now that you're awake and you're told that you say that a lot, what do you think about that?
I can't believe that I do it. It's just shocking.
What's shocking?
The things that I do, the things that I might say.
Do you have that question? Do you have the question about why somebody wouldn't love you, why someone would do to you what they did to you?
Yes.
Is that part of why you say you blame yourself? I mean, do you say if I was a better child, if I was more lovable, they would have loved me instead of hurt me?
Yes.
I will spend the rest of my life disabusing you of that thought. I will spend the rest of my life disabusing you of that thought. Okay, we're going to take a break. When we come back, we're going to meet the sister that she is in contact with. Her name is Blake. Blake says she carries tremendous guilt for not being able to save Lauren at the time. We're going to meet her when we get back.
My parents would refer to Lauren as that girl or it. We would always hear Lauren scream. I remember the inside of the closet was just nasty. I could actually smell the closet from inside my parents' bedroom. I feel like Ken and Barbie treated Lauren like an animal.
Closed captioning provided by... We're out of time for today, but we have so much more to cover. Lauren wasn't the only person living in that filthy and chaotic home. Outside her tiny pitch-black closet lived 5 other children. Tomorrow, we'll meet Lauren's older sister, Blake. She says Lauren was referred to as it, and they were forbidden from having any contact with her at all. I'm going to ask her about that and what she did to try and help Lauren. You do not want to miss tomorrow. We'll see you then.